kind of nervous, so never did this before. Verily all praises to Allah, Lord of the world. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of the polytheists and disbelievers. We seek refuge in Allah from the evils of ourselves and our bad deeds. Whoever Allah guides to the truth, no one can guide him or her. And whoever Allah misguides, no one can guide. I witness that there is no God but Allah, and that the Prophet Muhammad is the last Prophet of Allah. My name is Abdus Salam, and I was introduced to this conference to Brother Muhammad Musa and my brother Shahid, and they asked me if I wanted to do this. So, for the sake of Allah, I think it's important to spread Islam and to talk about what Islam has done to people. It's very important for people to have a good understanding of Islam due to what's being said, what is done to the mass media. Islam is a beautiful religion, and it has changed a lot of people's lives. I think that it's very important for people to learn what Islam has done for certain individuals, as well as myself. It's changed my life. For the sake of Allah, I'll talk about what Islam has done for me, because I know you could do the same for others. First of all, just to introduce myself, my background. I come from an African background. I was born in Montreal, and I was born and raised in Montreal, so French is my first language. My father is from the Republic of Cameroon, which is in the west of Africa, right beside Nigeria. And my mother, she's from the Republic of Haiti, which is in the West Indies, right beside Jamaica. So I was born and raised in Montreal. I was Catholic. My family's Catholic. I was baptized Catholic, and growing up in Montreal was, at the time, was very hard for me. And just going to a Catholic school was very hard for me. I grew up in a lot of racism in Montreal. There was a lot, back then when I was young, there was a lot of racism. Growing up in the suburbs of Montreal, I was one of the few black students there going to school. It was very hard for me. I grew up with a lot of racism. And I remember I had a tough time going to school every day, because I was one of the few black students. I used to be referred as a nigger and all that. And because of that, because I was young and I lost my father when I was 5 years old, and had really nobody to as a role model to go to so I could learn more about life and society. So growing up in Montreal as a young black kid was hard. I didn't have my father, and because there wasn't a lot of black students when I was young, because I was living in an area with mostly Caucasian people, so I didn't have a lot of, there wasn't a lot of black students, so I was quite a lot of racism. It was very difficult for me, because like I said, like my father, when I was 5, he died from diabetes, and so I didn't have any role model to go up with. But as a replacement, I had aunts who were deep into Christianity, and they're the ones who raised me. So I grew up as a young child going to church every Sunday and studying the Bible. I mostly spent my teenage years in a Scarborough area called Malvern, which is this area, which back then was a very bad area. A lot of people used to get shot. I lost a lot of friends I went to school with. They're dead now. So I grew up in an area where there was a lot of crime. I grew up as a troublemaker. I always used to get suspended from school. I even got expelled from one school to another. I grew up doing crime, like stealing cars, taking excessive drugs, fornicating women and other crimes. What was surprising about the way I was living my life is that I was always God conscious, because due to the fact that I grew up in a strict Christian family. Even though I was doing bad, I always knew that God was watching me, and I knew that I could not live this lifestyle for long. But because I was so confused with the concept of God, living this lifestyle made me happy. Drinking alcoholic beverages daily made me escape from reality. And when I reached the age of 16 years old, I remember I was going to Mother Teresa, which is in Malvern, and I remember writing to my religion teacher about the concept of Jesus. This is something that, because I grew up in a Christian family, so I grew up with the Word of God and stuff, so I knew certain things about Christianity. But just that when I reached a certain age, it's just certain things about Christianity that they made me sense. First thing that never made sense to me was I wrote this essay to my religion teacher, and I wrote to her like, can Jesus, the so-called Son of God, have blonde and blue eyes when there's no proof that he looked that way? And my religion teacher couldn't even say anything to me. Like she was just, she was stunned. Like she couldn't say nothing. Because I don't know if people know, but in the Catholic Church, they portray Jesus, they find him as a blonde and blue eyes person. Something that never really made sense to me. And so that's when I started questioning the Catholic religion at such a young age. And I also started questioning the concept of worshiping Mary, the mother of Jesus. I used to say to myself, how can I worship a human being that, with all this confusion regarding the concept of God, it led to a bad lifestyle without guidance. The way I came to Islam was quite different from a lot of other speakers that have talked about how they came to Islam. The first time I ever heard about Islam was, I remember when I was young, I was 16 years old, or 15, I can't remember. There was I don't know if you remember a march called the Million Man March in Washington, D.C. That's when I first heard about Islam. It was through Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. What inspired me about that movement was that I seen a lot of people coming together as a group, and they were talking about about the things that were going on in society and how they wanted to change that. So that inspired me a lot. It's because I seen a lot of people come from the ghetto, and they were like wanting to change their lives and talking about the problems that was going on, and that inspired me a lot. That's the first time I heard about Islam, but at that time, I wasn't exposed as yet to the real Islam. Therefore, I always knew that one day I wanted to become a Muslim, one day. But at that time, I never knew that the Nation of Islam was a Freemasonic satanic cult that preached racism and nationalism. Therefore, I used to follow their belief. I used to read the newspaper called The Final Call. That sometimes you would see some guys who used to, be at subway stations, and they used to, just try to sell the newspapers. So I used to, stop after them and reason with them, and I used to just buy the newspaper and, just read what they believed in. But I used to read the newspaper not knowing that they were teaching falsehood. I had no idea. I just used to read it. But that's all I used to do. But I was still confused with the concept of God, because I could not understand why does the Nation of Islam thought that Caucasians were devils. I never agreed with that concept, because growing up in a multicultural environment, I always knew that